Hello everyone. Today we are going to discuss a poem written by Nissim Ezekiel. The poem is Background Casually. Background Casually is a poem which was published by Nissim Ezekiel, a poet from Bombay, India in 1976. Nissim Ezekiel was born in India in 1924 and he died in 2004. Background Casually by Nissim Ezekiel. Background casually appeared in the Hymns in Darkness, which appeared in 1976. It is a confessional and autobiographical work. It is an uneven work, but a strong current of anger and bitterness. The poem Background Casually tells us about the struggle of the poet for identity in a country where he, as well as his community, Jewish community, is considered to be alien. The poet dispassionately ponders over his failures and achievements and reveals his love for India. In the poem, Background Casually, themes of culture, identity, race, history, and above all, the importance of a sense of belonging is foregrounded. The text of the poem Background Casually. A poet, rascal, clown was born. He himself was a poet. He considered himself as a rascal because he belongs to a community which is not the integral part of India, according to him. Jews. He always considered his community as a foreign community, alien community. So, a sense of alienation was always there in Nissim Ezekiel. A poet, rascal, clown was born, the frightened child who would not eat or sleep, a boy of meager bone. He was very lean and thin right from his beginning, a very lean and thin child, and a boy who is always frightened by his other friends, by his colleagues. He never learned to fly a kite because flying a kite is in fact a strategy or a tactic which is perhaps inborn in Indian community boys. He never learned to fly a kite. His borrowed top refused to spin. Now this is also a very favorite sport among Indian kids. I went to a Roman Catholic school, a mugging Jew among the wolves. Now in Roman Catholic school in Mumbai, where he has gone for his studies, now he was a mugging Jew. They told me I killed the Christ. Now his fellow students, most of them are Christian, they used to tell him that it is you and your community who is responsible for the killing of Jesus Christ. Now as a child he could not understand as to how he is responsible for the murder of Jesus Christ. They told me I killed the Christ. That year I won the scripture prize. A Muslim sportsman boxed my ear because he was a very lean and thin boy, a frightened child. Nissim Ezekiel, right from his beginning. I grew in terror of the strong, but undernourished Hindu lads, their preposition always wrong. Now, because Hindu lads are not used to English language, therefore they use their preposition in a very wrong manner, repelled me by passivity. One noisy day, I used a knife in order to defend myself from the Muslim and Hindu lads of my school. At home, on Friday nights, the prayer were said. My morals had declined. I heard of yoga and of Zen. Could I perhaps be Rebbe sent? Now, this is something which keeps on haunting him right from his childhood because he was a Jew. He belongs to a Jewish community. So Zen and yoga and prayers are taking place in regular basis. The moral I searched, the more I searched, the less I found. 22, time to go abroad. So when he became adolescent, when he became a man of 22 years, he decided to go abroad for higher education. So he moved to London from India. He is going to London. First, the decision to go abroad, decision to go to London. Then a friend to pay the fare because he belongs to a very lower class background family. Philosophy, poverty, and poetry. Now, these are three companions he shared in his basement room. Philosophy, poverty, and poetry, three companions shared my basement room. The London seasons passed me by. Means he was not used to the season of London. I lay in bed for 2 years alone, and then a woman came to tell my willing ear I was the son of the man. Means somebody came to him, and she, in fact, tried to lure in Nissim Ezekiel towards Christianity. I was the son of man. I knew that I had failed. In everything, a bitter thought. Now, his entire adventure towards London was this experimentation was, in fact, a failure because he could not, in fact, garner anything from London. He was homeless in London. So, in an English cargo ship taking French guns and mortar shells to Indochina, he scrubbed the decks and learned to laugh again at home. Now, finally, he reached India. How to feel at home was the point. Some reading had been done, but what had I observed except my own exasperation? All Hindus, all Hindus are like that, my father used to say. When someone talked too loudly or knocked the door like a devil. Now there are certain biased things or concept which has been ingrained quite deeply by his father, by the father of Nesem Ezekiel into his head. So he was biased towards Hindu community right from the very beginning. He says that when someone talked too loudly or knocked the door like the devil, they hogged and spat. They sprawled around. I prepared for the worst. Married, changed jobs, and saw myself a fool. Now he says that as a young man, when he returned from London to India, he married, he changed jobs, but finally he could not be successful anywhere in any of his adventures and saw myself a fool. The song of my experience sung, I knew that all was yet to sing. Means till now I have embraced failures in my life, and I know that I am a complete failure. My future is highly uncertain. And as far as my temperament is concerned, I was alienated right from the very beginning, right from my childhood. My ancestors among the caste were alien, crushing seeds for breads. The hooked bullock made his rounds. One among them fought and taught. Now, this is how they came to India. They came to India as a labor, as a laborer. So, their traditional work was to crush seeds and to extract oil from that. A major bearing British arms, he told my father sad stories of the Boer War. Now, very few people used to come to the household of Nessim Ezekiel. Among them, there used to be a major, perhaps who was there in British Army. So when he occasionally came to the household of Nessim Ezekiel, he used to narrate many stories about Boer wars and other wars in which he has fought. And as a child, Nessim Ezekiel used to listen to these stories with a keen interest. I dreamed that fierce men and bound my feet and hands. The later dreams were all of words. Author says that when he was a small kid, many a times he dreamed about wars and problems, bombardment. But in later years, he realized that perhaps the germ of creativity, the seed of creativity is within him, and he started playing with words. I did not know that words betray, but let the poems come and lost that grip on things the worldly prize. Now, the author later confesses that his initial adventure into the realm of poetry was not very successful. But later on, he started understanding the words and the concepts, and he found that his grip on words perhaps is now quite substantive. I would not suffer that again. I look about me now and try to formulate a plainer view. The wise survive and serve, to play the fool, to cash in on the inner and the outer storm. So author finally came to a conclusion, and that conclusion is that wise people, they in fact serve the fools, and fools, they enslave the wise in order to serve their petty means. So there was two storms blowing simultaneously. The first storm was the storm which was going on within the mind of the poet, within the heart of the poet, and the other storm was the outer storm. The Indian landscape sears my eyes. Now the poet candidly accepts that initially he did not belongs to India. He always considered India as a foreign land, as an alien land, because he had a longing for his motherland, and he always considered his motherland perhaps away from that of India. I have become a part of it. But later on, he realized that no, this is not an alien land. I am very much part and parcel of India. This is my country. I have become a part of it, to be observed by foreigners, because even the foreigners consider Nissim Ezekiel to be an Indian. Now, when he went to London, in fact, the Londoners too consider himself as an Indian. They addressed himself as an Indian. So later on, he reconciled with the fact that yes, I am an Indian, and my earlier observation about India was in fact wrong. I have become a part of it, to be observed by foreigners. They say that I am singular. Their letters overstate the case. I have made my commitments now. This is one. To stay here, to stay where I am. Now finally, the author, Nissim Ezekiel, reconciled with the fact that now this is my country. This is my motherland. I need not have to search my motherland somewhere else. My motherland does not lie outside India. In fact, this is my motherland because this is the place where I took birth. This is the place which is responsible for my upbringing. This is the place which is providing me some amount of reputation. To stay where I am, as others choose to give themselves in some remote and backward place. My backward place is where I am. Author says that although for foreigners, India is a backward place. For people who are residing outside India, for them, this country is backward, illiterate, and uncultured. But Nissim Ezekiel finally candidly accepts that although India is backward, but this country, although it is backward or illiterate or uncivilized in the eyes of the foreigners, but this is my country, this is my motherland. I am very much part of this country. I love this country. So finally, he acknowledges that I love my India. Thank you very much for watching this video.